All right, here's 8 different ways to begin a class. Number 1, self-directed. Put on some music, call out to the crowd of people, okay, dance, warm up. It works really well if you have a intermediate or above group of people that already know each other and already know that style of dance or that movement. This can be done even with ballet or belly dance or whatever. It doesn't have to be partner dancing, although that's where I see it the most. The good things about a self-directed beginning, everyone gets a chance to have fun, interact, be successful, start dancing. They feel like already they're meeting their goals. They came to dance, and here you are letting them dance. So from the very beginning, it's a win, as long as they actually know how to do it. So I don't do a self-directed beginning with beginners or even beginning 2 or early intermediates, because they can get really intimidated. They feel like, oh, I'm supposed to know how to do all this. I don't know how to do it. I'm a failure. I also try to be aware of gender balance. If it's a partner dance class, if there's a bunch of people that are standing out and a couple people get to warm up because they have a partner, that's no fun, because then again they feel like failures. So you only want to do a self-directed beginning if it's going to be a success for everybody in the room, or at least 99%. Number 2, cardio go. So again, put on some music. I say minimal words. Maybe I'll say, "You ready?" And then I get up on the block and we start moving. Yeah. I use this even for a beginning hip hop class, or where I am going to do more explanation, but I'll start with cardio go. Or even for a partner dance class, like a salsa class, I will frequently just put on the music, okay, everyone on the floor, here we go. And you just start dancing, yeah, and they follow along. It does a lot of things right away. Immediately they're moving, they're having fun, they're enjoying themselves. They're learning a lot right from the beginning. You're warming up their body. So there's a lot of pluses to that. If you have a super shy group or a group that's never moved before and they're going to get intimidated or not feel successful with that strategy, then you don't want to do it. Because remember, the most important thing is that they feel successful and they feel like they're going to meet their goals. So if I got everyone on the floor and I said, okay, let's go, I start doing salsa for a beginning salsa class, and there's people who are suddenly like, I don't know what I'm doing, they'll walk out and they'll never come back. So I only use cardio go if I know the people in the room can handle it. A similar one is called stretch go. If you have a movement style that's both slow and meditative and faster, you can start with some sort of stretching, slow movement, slow isolations, whatever it is that's useful for your style, and then gradually build it up from that slow movement into faster movement. However, I would only do that if you can get them warmed up enough that they're not going to injure themselves when stretching. Because remember, you don't want to do like a deep stretching action if the muscles are cold. So you want to make sure that you've done enough moving that the muscles are warm and the joints have enough fluid in them that they're not going to hurt themselves. Or do more sort of isolation actions instead of stretching actions. Because again, the isolations will activate the muscles and will get the body warmer. And I would also only do stretch go if the movement style has both those slower movements and the faster movements, because then you are setting the correct tone. I wouldn't start with a slow stretch if the tone that I want is faster and energetic. So I wouldn't start like a salsa class with, okay, everybody, we're going to stretch, stretch, stretch. Okay, now do salsa, because they won't be in the right mind frame to absorb the rest of the steps. Next, you can do a formal introduction. If you have some sort of very formal type class, you have a lot of information to give. Maybe it's the first week. You could start with, hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. Welcome to the dance class. This is the very first class. We're going to cover the basic steps of this and this and this. If you've never danced before, you are in just the right place. We're going to start from the very beginning, and we're going to start with a simple stretch, and then we're going to move on to these steps. So that sort of formal introduction, I think, is really good if you have a lot of beginners, people who are new to the space, people who are clearly nervous, and you want to try to assuage some of their fears. So that can be good. I wouldn't necessarily do that formal introduction every week. You will have some new people, but narrow it down to my short intro. So short intro, I do the same sort of thing, but I try to keep it shorter. So I just say, hey, my name is Anna, welcome to Club Zumba. We're gonna start with a 5-minute warm-up and then I'll explain the steps. Okay, ready? Here we go. So they have a little structure. Okay, there's gonna be a warm-up, and then she's gonna explain. So they know what's going on. I also occasionally do a discoursive introduction. When I do this, I sit down. And I make sure that they have a comfortable place to sit down. There's a couple reasons why I sit. First off, it's more comfortable, especially if the ladies are wearing high heels or any sort of uncomfortable footgear. It's just more comfortable to be seated. Second off, it makes people feel like, oh, I'm safe. I'm not being asked to dance. I'm not being asked to do anything scary. I'm just being asked to sit and talk. I can do that. So already they can put away all of those worries and fears that they have about dancing. So I can use a discoursive intro if I have a really shy group or a group that's really beginning and I know they're gonna be scared. Like if I've put in the title something like Salsa for the Uncoordinated, I know those people are gonna be nervous because they said so by coming to the class. So we could start with a discoursive introduction in which we all introduce each other, maybe something about ourselves, so already the group feels like they know each other a little better. Trust always makes people learn faster. Or in a discoursive introduction, you could talk about how you learned salsa and how it was hard for you, or how learning certain skill sets can be difficult, like maybe I had a hard time learning French, but these are the things that got me through. And I found it really easy to learn this other thing because of these other skills. And each person can talk about what was hard and easy for them in learning certain material, and how learning a dance is just another skill set, like learning coding or learning a language or learning to ride a bike. And it's no more scary than learning any of those other skill sets. So through talking, hopefully we can get them in the zone where they can leave some of their fears behind and be ready to absorb material. So I might use a discoursive intro if I have a super shy group that's scared, or maybe if I have a class that's really supposed to be technical, like how to dance at a club or party, an analytical approach. I did a lot of discoursing in that because we talked a lot about music theory, how to hear the difference between an upbeat and a downbeat, how to identify the beginning of a measure, how to, how to get your body to move with the rhythm. How do you break down coordination? So if I'm going to be discoursing a lot and I want to set up, okay, this is what I'm going to cover the next 7 weeks, or I want them to feel more comfortable, I might use that discoursive intro. Then I make sure I say, okay, we're done discoursing, let's get on the floor and we're going to move. So then they're like, okay, we're ready to go. I would never use that style of intro unless I really felt like it was necessary. Because in general, I feel like people learn dancing by dancing. They learn it by doing it. And so too much talking can slow down the process. A performance intro can be really good. You get yourself and out there on the floor, or a group, or former students or whatever out there, they perform. Already that takes care of so many of your goals. They can see already that it's going to be worth their time, interesting, exciting, fun. They can see, oh wow, this is where those other students got to. I can get there too. I'm going to meet my goals. So starting with the performance can be great. It also educates your people, your students, to what the dance is going to look like. If they're not familiar with a certain style, it can be really good for them to see what the basics look like, and also what their high goal is. Some people don't get inspired unless they see, oh wow, okay, the basics are kind of boring, but as soon as I learn the basics, the advanced stuff is really cool. So that helps a lot. Some sort of group introduction. You can do a game with the group. You can have everybody in the group introduce themselves. You can have everyone in the group show their own favorite step. You can have the group, dance together. Any of those sorts of things can happen. It just depends on what it is that you're teaching. And last but not least, the pop quiz version. Especially for a performance-oriented class, you can just say, okay, I'm putting on the music, do it. And then they perform for you what it is that they're supposed to be learning. I only do that with a performance group, with a more advanced group that already has a certain level under their belt. So those are some actual ways to begin your class. Hopefully you can choose the one that's most appropriate for what you are doing.